Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGenEd. It's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts. And so this is Crypto Corner Sat Stacker for Saturday, August 16th. Going to be taking you through 20 different cryptocurrencies, going over the charts, market caps, and seeing where I stand with them. Of the 20, I do hold 19. So just looking over here at the chart, this is just kind of like the graphical summary of my thesis, being that, around Easter, Ethereum hit a bottom of around $1,400. And based on these levels that I have drawn up here, based on the highs from back at the end of 2017, we do have the intersection here, the low around 1400, and then that red line at the top does suggest that price could be getting up to around $8,000 this year. However, some analysis looking at this on the log scale last week could suggest that Ethereum could be hitting getting close to like 20,000, 10 to 20,000, somewhere around there. So, I am pretty bullish on Ethereum. And part of that bullishness comes from all of these memes that you can see here of people just trashing Ethereum. And so at that time when I was really starting to notice these memes, I put out this video. Happy Easter came out on Easter, which happened to be on April 20th or 420. You can check out that video via this link or from the link in the description of this video, just to kind of get a deep dive into that thesis. And then also, if you do want to get my latest update on my thesis here, for Crypto Corner Sat Stacker, I will include a link to the most recent video where I did go over that kind of in depth. Just don't want to take the time to do it because it really hasn't changed much. Link to that in the description of this video. And the updated or the new meme that I added up here for this week comes from August 14th from Altcoin Daily. They're just asking, who is still holding Ethereum? So I am. And the meme is Vitalik from 1 month ago working at McDonald's, and now he's looking like a boss. And so, I'm feeling really good about Ethereum. A lot of the alts, I think that we're going to see an exciting last, 4 months of the year or so, 4 or 5 months of the year. So, I am looking forward to it. But let's dive into the tickers. Just going through this spreadsheet, I will populate the market cap for these tickers as well as the price, and then just see what my percent P&L is, and just kind of evaluate what I will be doing based on daily dollar cost averages and or dip buys. And before I do get into all of the tickers, just want to note the exchanges that I use for them. I use Strike for Bitcoin, and then primarily Robinhood for scooping up these alts. But some of them that are not listed on Robinhood, I do use Coinbase. But I do store my crypto on my Trezor hardware wallets. I have 2 of them. I have the Trezor Model 1 and the Trezor Safe 3. And so, you can check out their products via this URL, this link here, and then all of the exchanges, links in the description of the video. If you don't have an account, want to create one, I think we both get, a little something if you do create an account and deposit, $100 or something like that. I don't know, not pushing it. I don't really care, just as a resource for you guys. Just kind of an overview of what happened over the past week. I did have some dip buys with RLC, LRC, Trump Coin, and Pepe, but then I also did trim a little bit of Cardano as well as Chainlink, and you can see those dip buys highlighted there in green, which actually there are 5 that are green here. Oh, Doge did not hit. It was a level of 20 cents, but because I want to keep Doge higher up than RLC, I added $100 to my Doge position. Now let's dive into the tickers, first beginning with Bitcoin, which is, of course, ticker symbol BTC. And let's look over at the market cap of Bitcoin. Did hit an all-time high over the past week, but it has since pulled back some. Here we can see it is, of course, number 1 on CoinMarketCap. And let's just copy this number over here. I don't know if that copied, and paste it over here. Just going to divide it by 1,000,000. So we have all those numbers over there. And we can see that the market cap is $2.3 trillion for Bitcoin. And if we do look at what its market cap was from last Saturday, 2.327. And so it's, just a little bit higher. And so now let's check out the price of Bitcoin. I'm just going to use the closing price from Friday. So that's Friday, August 15th. We can see that that's 117,436.96. So 117,436, 96. 117,436.96. Did I get that right? 436.96. Yep, looks good. And so it does look like for my position with my average at around 93,500, I am up about 26% in that position. So feeling pretty good about that. Although when I do get onto ETH, I will be wishing I was putting more money into that. And that was my biggest holding. But, Bitcoin's long-term, Ethereum is really just kind of a swing for me. But yeah, let's see the ad levels that I have for Bitcoin. That's $111,000. So let's look over at the chart and see, why I picked that level. So it does look like it's the, let's see, 382 from this Fibonacci retracement. Oh, and actually one thing I want to do, I'm just going to delete this channel. Just there's a little bit less clutter here on the chart. And let's see these other levels down here. I guess I'll leave them. There is some clutter there though, but whatever, it's fine. Really just paying attention to this Fibonacci retracement, which I am going to have to adjust because we did hit a new high on August 14th on Thursday, that high being at a price of above 124,000. It looks like the high was $124,533 based on the Coinbase data. And so what I am going to do, just going to move this retracement over with that intersection at the top there. And so we can see that let's see, I'm actually just going to undo that. It's a little bit hard to see with the blue, but oh, okay, actually the 382, that's at 114. The 50% retracement was at 111, but then if I redo that move up, we can still see the 50% is still around 111,000. And then we do have that 382 around 114,550.50. But that is approximate. And so thinking about this, got these two trend lines here, the red one and the orange. Does look like both of those did act as support, kind of how I have doodled out there. And we can see if we just go back in time, the red line corresponds with the high from November 2021, and then the orange intersects with the tops from 2021, but going back to the highs from December of 2017. So both of those levels I do think pretty important. It is interesting that this did act as support. Maybe now the red line acts as support and we don't dip down to the orange one. And yeah, let's just see about that. I feel like, we might be in a scenario, we've been putting in higher lows. Maybe we do put in another higher low. So I think it would be, expecting too much, being a little bit too greedy on that dip, on that pullback, to expect it to come down to 111,000, especially with that 50% retracement. Now, if we round that up to 112,000, but, I don't think that we'd be going to a lower low unless maybe we sweep the lows before we really take off and then not just get to a new high based on, a few $1,000s, but, 5,000, more than that. Maybe 10,000, getting up to like 135 or so. So, yeah, just thinking, what's the dip here that this might come to? So it looks like the low over here from August 3rd was $111,903.68. And so, getting to 112 would still be a higher low, but rounding, it's kind of a double bottom, about the same. And so what I think is that we do have, that 382 at 114,500, let's say. But maybe we round that down to 114. Wick below this orange line, find that as support before this goes higher. So I'm going to up the dip buy level from 111 up to 114, putting in higher lows before that does continue higher. And, so let's see over here, got that 111. I'm going to go to the weeklies tab and I am going to adjust this to 114,000. But I am going to do a little bit of a change here. I am not going to buy that dip. I'll have an alert for that level, which I do need to, highlight. So I know that I need to adjust my alert for that. But as far as the order goes, I need to look up the emoji for this. So 1 second. I'll just do a little X right there. And did that work? No. Okay, so let's see. Here, we're going to do that. Okay, so I am not going to buy the dip for that ad level, but if it does go off, I'll be alerted and then maybe I can evaluate. But the reason for that is because personally, I need to get I don't have a four-wheeled vehicle. I got a motorcycle, but I need to get a truck. And so just, a small one, nothing too crazy, but I got to start being a little bit more conservative, a little bit less aggressive with my purchases here. So the, additional $20 dip buy that I have there, I'm actually going to remove that. And I'm just going to be doing the $40 daily DCA with Bitcoin. And then when Bitcoin does take off, when it does break out above 124,000, I'm probably going to reduce this daily DCA down to $30. And the reason for that is because when I initially started doing this, my plan was to have, more exposure to Bitcoin just because I trust it longer term, in case my thesis doesn't play out. So far, it does look like it is playing out, but I don't really want to trim or exit my Bitcoin position. I just want to keep adding to that. And so I think a way to manage that is to just by reducing my daily buys, especially when breaking out to new highs. I've been aggressive when Bitcoin's been low, keeping my average below 100,000, so I feel good about that. But when it does break out, still in 2025, I still want to be buying, but maybe just reduce that amount to 30 once we break out to new highs. So for the time being, I'm going to leave that at $40 daily DCA, not going to be doing the 111,000 dip buy or the 114,000 dip buy, but maybe it breaks below 114,000, maybe it gets to 111,000, and then it's like, well, maybe I'll just add a little bit more. I haven't been, I wouldn't have bought it. I didn't buy it at 114. Maybe I'll buy it at 111. So that's kind of my thesis, my thought process there. As far as the 135, let's look over at the chart to see if I still feel like that is a good level to be potentially trimming at. And I imagine it's basically, so that's based on the high over here and this pullback to, around 111, 100, whatever. But maybe, and really, that's kind of being conservative, because if I do pull this down more, it's, bringing that number down to like 132, 133. So I could be even more conservative, like that, something like that. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to leave this where I had it, 135 from this Fibonacci extension, but that also does have some confluence with the Fibonacci extension from over here, going from the low from April 7th up to the high from, let's see, May 23rd, and then back down to the low over here from June 22nd, I believe, and that's around 135. So I am just going to leave that trim level for Bitcoin at 135. I guess I will pull this down so we can see those levels up there. And so, I am fine with that. Going to leave that alone, but I'm not going to trim there. I'm just going to keep stacking, do need to adjust the alert for that ad level just so I'm paying attention to it. But yeah, let's now come back to the list over here to look over at Ethereum, which is ticker symbol ETH. Pretty excited about this one. I think I'm getting pretty close to 2xing my position, being up around 100%. So as you can see, the average here, just under 2,400. So I'm really curious to see where I'm standing with ETH, but let's first look over at the market cap, ETH being, of course, the number 2 here on coin market cap, about $500 billion. So let's just copy that number and paste it over here, then divide it by 1 million. And so we can see that the market cap is, $530 billion, almost $531 billion. And if we do look over at last week, the market cap was around $505 billion. Now it's $531. So looking good there. Now let's check out the closing price from yesterday for Ethereum for Friday, August 15th. That was a closing price of $4,442.56. So 44256, 44256. And we can see that I'm up 87% on that. And last week, what was I up? 72. So getting closer to that 100%, that 2x my position. So, yep, of course, feeling good about that. But then let's just consider, the trim levels, the ad levels that I have marked over here. So the ad level was 3,800. Thinking of it just dips down to below 4,000. So I'm actually just going to come over to here so I can adjust that number, maybe reevaluate it. And so that 3,800, that's going to be based on the 236 from this retracement, and that is going based on, I guess, the high from last Saturday, or, as the high was forming last Saturday, but we did go higher. So I'm just going to move this up to intersect with the high that we hit on August 14th. So on Thursday, that high was just shy of the all-time high for Ethereum, and that was at $4,792, no change, based on the Coinbase data here. And we can see that that new 236 is around $4,162, but we do have the 382 right around 3,800. Here it looks like it's around $3,771.42. So I do feel like 3,800 is a fine level to have as, the dip buy level, whether it's a dip buy, ad, or just alert to consider. And so on that note, I am probably just like with Bitcoin, and probably not going to have an addition order placed there. I am going to remove that just because, I have a pretty big Ethereum position. I need to be a little bit more conservative with my buys. However, my thesis still hasn't played out. Ethereum hasn't hit 8,000. It hasn't even gotten up to 6,000. And so coming back over to here, what I am going to do is I'm going to remove that $14 dip buy, which would be at 3,800. And the ideal there was just like every week I'd add $7 to that. So effectively $1 a day to dip buy at 3,800. If that happens, great. If it doesn't, fine. My average is, much lower than that dip buy, 14, 21, whatever it is. It's not really going to make that huge of a difference. So while Ethereum is below 6,000, I'm going to adjust my daily buys, my daily DCAs to 40. So to match Bitcoin. Once it gets up to 6,000, then I'll start trimming. But for now, I am going to adjust that. So I need to make it yellow so I know I need to adjust. I am going to adjust that to $40 daily dip buys. And I feel good about that. And if it does come down to 3,800, I will have, this alert here. So I know that, maybe I want to add a little bit more to my daily DCAs, or do a dip buy with some cash on the side. So I feel good about that. But then let's consider this trim level here, which is going to be 4,500. And let's see, we actually, wow, went above that level, because I wasn't planning on trimming. That's why it's red, I guess my alert went off. But we did hit the high, like I said, of nearly 4,800. And that's $4,792, as I had mentioned. And so, that was kind of the 4,500 was really based on this 1618 extension from, let's see, the low that was actually hit on April 9th. So a couple days after Bitcoin bottomed, a number of cryptos were bottoming around there. And, so from that low up to the high here on, I believe, June 11th. And then coming down to the low of June 22nd is what I was going to say, I believe. June 22nd. I remember that date. And so from there, 1618, 4,500. But now let's, take it up to the next level. What's this retracement over here? So this is based on, the low from June 22nd up to the high from July 28th, and then pulling back down, let's see, to, kind of with the assumption that this would be coming down to around 3,200 or so. But I guess I moved that Fibonacci retracement up, and so that's why this doesn't seem to be aligned with any levels. And so what I might do, really just kind of assuming that Ethereum has bottomed here on August 3rd with the low of $3,354.56. I'm just going to move this fib level. Actually, well, before I do that, maybe what we want to see is this level. Okay, that's around 5,000. That does seem like a psychological level that could be acting as resistance once we do break through, all-time highs. But so let's just adjust this, though. I kind of want to move this up to the low that we hit here because that, might be bringing us up to like 5,100. We can see that the 100% extension, so that is going to be, let's see, just the distance from the bottom here to the, top there. I'm actually going to adjust the color of that to be white. And I might make it a little bit thinner too. And so we can see that level, that line, if I just move that over to here, that brings us up. Oops, what's going on with that? That does bring us up to, 5,170.81 cents, corresponding with that 100% extension. That is what that 100% extension is, just the distance from the bottom to the top, taken from the higher low to the top here, what could be the next top. So that's around 5,100, 5,200, but maybe we don't pierce 5,200. So like a trim level would actually be 5,100. Pierce that, but maybe don't get up to this line, trim, and then we see a pullback. And so, I'm not really, I guess I am thinking, maybe it could be coming down here, but maybe I'll just delete that doodle in case it doesn't happen. But 4,500, we did hit that. And so I'm going to say 5,100 there. And I am going to have to highlight that because I need to adjust that alert. And, I'm not going to do any orders trimming or adding, no big deal. And then once we get to like 5,100, then I might actually place a trim order at around 6,000, but we're not there yet. So still $5,100 there to the upside. So yeah, I got this all set up, laid out for the big two. And so now what I am going to do is have a little sip of coffee, and then we can continue on with the list. All right, recharged. Let's continue on with Dogecoin, ticker symbol DOGE. And let's check out what that market cap is for Dogecoin. Coming over here, it's going to be ranked number 8 here on Coin Market Cap, about 2.8. Oops, I did not mean to do that. did not want to do the volume traded. I wanted to do the market cap. So let's just double click on that. And 34 billion, although, 2.8 billion was traded. So I'll just copy that again and paste that over here. 34 billion. And that actually looks like it came down over the past week. We can see that last week it was over 35.6 billion dollar market cap. So it did come down a little bit. And let's now check out the price of Doge. And for Dogecoin, I like to look at the data from Binance just because there's a little bit more history there. And we can see that the closing price for Friday, August 15th was $22.90. So let's type that in there. And we can see that that also came down, really just kind of out of curiosity. Where was it last week? $22.99. So it only came down 0.09 cents. No big deal there. And let's see, my average did go up, though. This is one thing that I did want to point out because I did add that $100 since I was buying, let's see, some RLC. So my average was $17.44. Now it is $17.61. So, it's not good that I'm increasing my average, but I am still up 30%. So feeling fine about that. And I do have, daily, let's see, and I'm actually just going to copy this. And what I need to do is, because I need to actually, now I'll remember that I need to. I was thinking, I need to note that I need to delete those dip orders, but I'm not going to. I am going to delete the dip order for Doge, but I'll kind of talk about why. Well, actually, I can talk about why right now. The reason is because if I do get some more RLC, I want to keep that as number 4. I don't want it to flip Doge. And so if I do buy some RLC, I will also buy Doge to just keep it ranked as number 3. But I don't need to do the dip, but maybe I should talk about that dip. 20 cents. Let's look at the chart. So 20 cents over here, that's kind of what I have drawn. And actually, yeah, I do think that Doge could be dipping to 20 cents. And that would be a retest of the 200-day moving average, which I didn't talk about with Ethereum or Bitcoin. Bitcoin's 200-day moving average is down here at around 100,000. So that's pretty crazy. But yeah, Dogecoin over here, I could still see it dipping down to 20 cents. So I think that's a very valid level to have as a dip buy. And then we can also look at the Fibonacci retracement here, still going up to this high because we did put in a lower high. And that 20 cents would correspond approximately with that 618. So I'm just going to move that, if I can. Oh, maybe I got that locked into place. I got it locked into place, so rather than dragging it forward, I will just move it. Let's see, 10. I'm just going to do this 300 right there. Let's see if that's correct. Yep. Oh, and then I might want to just extend it maybe another 10 days into the future. And so we can see that 618, the yellow line there, right around 20 cents, corresponding with the 200-day moving average at 20.20 cents. So yeah, I think that's a fine dip buy level, a fine level to maybe establish a position or, add on that. But I am going to remove that. And I should, I do have an order there. So this is where I will see that, I do need to adjust the orders. I need to make those yellow because I need to cancel the orders. And yep, so over here, make that yellow, make the text red. Not going to buy that dip. The alert for that so far, should be fine. But this, I need to not do the dip buy. I just don't need to be super aggressive. I have big enough Doge position. If I'm doing a $100 buy corresponding with RLC, then, I don't need to stress about it. And so I'm just going to, copy this 100 up here. And that will be, I guess I'll make that one orange, Bitcoin orange, because I would only do that if I am buying RLC. And but yeah, what's the trim level for Doge? It looks like I have 31 cents marked still, over here. And so let's just check out the chart to see, does 31 cents still make sense? It looks like the high here from July 21st was 28.82 cents. And then we have, 31 cents here marked by this green line corresponding with the consolidation lows over here. So that was acting as support. Now I suspect it will be flipped to acting as resistance, putting in a higher high, change of trend, and then maybe consolidate there before breaking out and going higher. So I think 31 cents is a good level to consider as a trim, although for me, I guess, I'd trim, but it'd just be like a $7 trim, so nothing too crazy. I would trim there. Although if I do trim, then Doge would get bumped down below RLC, so maybe that's a little bit of a predicament that I will be in if that happens. So maybe I actually don't want to do that trim. No, if that puts me in a predicament, maybe that's a good predicament to be in. If RLC overthrows Doge, it'd just be by, in all honesty, like $4. So not too huge of a deal. But so, and the order, I guess, I need to cancel that, but I still will have that trim. Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. But yeah, maybe let's say if I do the dip, let's see, if I do dip by RLC, maybe what I should do is then up the $100 order for Doge to be, let's say 105. And so that would then maintain Doge as number 3, even if I did trim. So yeah, I can still leave that trim there. I just need to, actually this needs to be like that. I just need to make it yellow because I need to adjust that, cancel that add order. So that is looking good. And I am just going to have another little sip of coffee and we can move on to the next one. All right. And so the next one on the list is going to be iExec, ticker symbol RLC. Probably the most speculative one on here due to the market cap. And so if we do come over to CoinMarketCap to check out iExec RLC's market cap, it's ranked as number 467. So in that sense, very risky. Market cap of less than $100 million. Very tiny, $70.7 million market cap there. So dividing it by a million, it's just going to have 71 right there. And so from last week, it did come down 74, now down to 71. And price is going to reflect that, I imagine. So let's check it out over here. RLC. Looking at the data from, not Kraken, I want it from Coinbase, I believe. Yep, right here, US dollar, Coinbase. Got all these doodles here. And so the closing price from yesterday, a little bit lower than it is currently. Friday, August 15th, the closing price was 9432. 9432. And so that is low. I am down 42%. And if we do look over here, it was above $1 last week. I was down 40%. Now I'm down 42. Even though I did buy the dip. I bought the dip a little too aggressively, I guess, because 99 cents was that dip level. It's currently, or yesterday was at 94.32. Currently, it's now at 98.04. So that is below where I did dip by. And so, maybe I should have been less aggressive because last week the low that we saw was, I believe, on Thursday. We kind of got this, kind of bearish engulfing candle here, pretty big a bullish retracement there, or bearish retracement. I forget what that would be called. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of like, it looks like, falling three methods, I believe. Yeah, falling three methods versus rising three methods. But this is up and then down, so that would suggest that we'll be going lower, but it's really just kind of a break of that continuation to the upside. And there are only two methods in there rather than three. But anyways, the low on the 14th was 91.53, so I could have gotten more of a discount. And so, that kind of sucks. I should have been less aggressive, but, I'm happy to get my average down. So now at 163 last week, I was at 168, so I think that's great, getting my average down. Still very risky, still very exposed, but, I think that, let's see, I will make this Bitcoin orange. I'm not sure that it's going to get hit, and so, I'll have to wait and see about that. But let's see, the level, so 99 cents, if that's what I had last week, where do I want to adjust that to? Looking at this, got this yellow line here at like 95, 96 cents. And that goes back to the consolidation lows over here. So what year was this? Maybe 2022, I imagine. 2023. We have, just going to zoom in here so we can see this a little better. Consolidation lows right around, I don't know if you can see it right there, 95.51. And so, yeah, maybe 95.50 is a good level to consider as the dip buy level. Over here, what does that correspond with as far as the Fibonacci retracement goes? Still, up here with that high. And let's just move that forward a little bit. And we can see that high is approximately, it's around 133, I believe 134.34 hit on July 21st. And we can see that is really just, below the 618. We did test the 786. And so, yeah, I feel like 95.50, 96. Maybe we don't get down to 95.50, 96. That's still, because the low over here, that was 91.53. If I bought it 99, I'd be happy to buy again at 96 to add to my position. So, yeah, because we pierced it, maybe we don't pierce it again. And I do think that we could be rallying up, maybe to break out from that 200-day moving average, which is currently at 114. So, let's see. I think, actually, what was the low for today? So far, the low is 94.82. Maybe I should just do 95.50. 95.51, I don't know. Maybe, do I want to run the higher lows? We would still be putting in a higher low there. Over here, we did test that level multiple times. So, yeah, I think that 95.50 is a fine level. Maybe 95.51, just to respect the chart. And so I might, let's see, move this over. And I need to make that yellow because we'll need to have an alert adjusted for that. Don't have an order placed, but I will. If the alert goes off, I will then just, buy the dip there. And then I would, of course, buy Doge to balance. So, or buy Doge. Buy Doge. It's not marked here on the add or trim levels. I don't know what I'm talking about. But so RLC, that's the add level. What's the trim level? I imagine it's still and I guess, since I don't have an order placed, I will need to place one, so I need to make that yellow. The trim level, though, 230, I imagine that's still the same. I think that's kind of like a legacy, fib extension. And that's going from the low that was hit on August 5th of 2024, more than a year ago, up to the high that we hit in December of 2024. That was around $3. And then pulled back to the recent low that we hit on June 22nd. And so, yeah, just extended into the future a little bit here. And so that level is 230. I think that's fine for trim level, but maybe I'd want to make that a little more conservative around 186 or like $2. No, I mean, the goal is to be making money. I think we're getting into alt season. So I think trimming at 230, I think that's selling it a little short because I think it could be getting back up to 3. I think it could be getting back up to 450, I think I could be getting into a multi-bagger here, but I do want to manage that risk. And so managing risk at 186, selling it short. Managing risk at 2, I think selling it short. But at 230, and that could actually correspond with this yellow downtrend. That's just being, kind of approximate from the highs over here, a little bit of fake out breakout. And then if I do, pull this, extend this into the future, I guess I need to kind of do this on this scale. And so we can see if I extend that into the future just a little bit, that could be corresponding with, the approximate fib 786 there, right there. That is in the future. So 786 fib extension, 230, corresponding with that yellow downtrend. Yeah. I think that's pretty reasonable. Maybe if by, let's see, the start of October we're not at 230, then maybe I'd want to adjust that down. But as of right now, I don't want to. I think 230 is fine for a trim level. And in the meantime, I'm just going to be kind of aggressively, kind of foolishly getting my average down from, 163. But yeah, I'm just going to have a sip of water now before getting on to the next one. Then maybe I'll have a sip of coffee after. And, have a little sipperoo here. And then we can continue on to the next one, which is going to be Ethereum Classic, ticker symbol ETC. And let's check that one out. The market cap for Ethereum Classic is going to be higher up on the list, like 30 something, 32, 34. We can see just above Ed's head there. 3.3, almost $3.4 billion market cap. And so I'm just going to paste that over here. I imagine this one went down last week. It did last week. It was around 3.5 billion. Now it's around 3.4. And let's check out the price of Ethereum Classic on Coinbase over here, US dollar. And so the price from yesterday's close, Friday, August 15th, $22.24, so $22.24. And it looks like I'm up by a whopping 3%. Hey, it's just about, what savings is right now. So, that's fine. A little bit of risk, no worries. Let's see. My average is 21.62. Nothing too exciting. Let's see, my ad level's 21. So not quite there. Looking over at the chart, what was the low that we hit on Thursday? The low is 21.02. I missed it by 2 cents apparently, but even, with the spread, if it came down 2 more cents, my order wouldn't have been filled to buy the dip. But that's fine. We can see the Fibonacci retracement over here still, corresponding with the highs up here. I'm just going to extend that to the future a little bit. Maybe we get a flush. Maybe we get just a little bit lower, corresponding with, that yellow line at 21.04 that, corresponds with the tops over here. So prior resistance could become support. We do, though, have the 200-day moving average down at around 1867. That did, we did bounce from that before, so maybe we don't revisit it and we just come down to that 382 again. Maybe pierce 21. So I think that leaving 21 as a dip buy level for Ethereum Classic is great. I feel good about that. And then 28 is the trim level. That was not hit last week. We have been putting in lower highs, consolidating here. Lower highs, also with lower highs in the volume, also with lower highs in the RSI. So really we're just like kind of recharging, pulling back. And this is with a lot of them with Ethereum. It didn't get up to the all-time highs, but pulled back. reset that RSI. So when we do get up there, we can really break out. And so that's going to apply to a lot of other cryptocurrencies. And so looking at this, I do have like 29 up here, 28 over here. So this one is going to be based on the low from April 7th up to the high of May 13th. And then back to the low of June 22nd. Yep. And that's the 1618 around 28. Then we do have the 100% over here with the assumption that it pulls back to the 618 at around 18 bucks. That hasn't happened, and I don't think that it will with that bounce from the 200-day moving average. So what I might want to do is move this up to that 50% level at around 1934. So maybe we could test that, but maybe we don't. But then that would just be, the next trim level still around 28, but then we pull back. So let's see if I do a little doodle, it could then be like, that is what I would be thinking. So, yeah, this could still be playing out kind of like that. We get a pierce of 27.88. Maybe I trim at 28. Maybe the spread prevents that, whatever. But yeah, I think a trim at 28 for a pullback bounce and then a trim maybe at 30, 31. But we'll have to see that in the future. So I'm just going to leave Ethereum Classic alone. That's an easy one for me. Leave that dip by $7 right there. So feeling good about that. And now let's continue on to the next one, which is going to be Ondo, ticker symbol ONDO. This one was previously only listed on Coinbase for the exchanges that I'm using, but it was just recently listed on Robinhood. So it makes, smaller dip buys a little bit easier. So that's pretty nice. And so let's check out the market cap for Ondo. Looks like it's ranked number 37. So in my list, it's just below Ethereum Classic. Here with a market cap of $3.15 billion, populating that over here. And we can see that it did come down from last week. It was about almost 3.3 billion. Now it's, rounding up to 3.2 billion, came down by, $150,000 or so. Let's check out the price now. So the closing price from, Ondo. The closing price from Friday, August 15th was, let's see, at 99.119. So 99.119 did come down from last week. I am up though in my position. 89 cents is my average, up 12%. I like Ondo. I'm feeling good about it. I'm proud of myself for being more aggressive with it, moving it up in the rankings. And, what's my dip by level? It looks like it was 96 cents. So let's check over here, see if I want to update that. And so that 96 level, that's really going to kind of correspond with, it looks like the 200-day moving average, that blue line there, you can see that is around 95 cents. We do have the 382 here around 96 cents. We did hit a low on Friday of 96.051 cents. So that was nearly hit that dip level. So maybe we do pull back. And so I do feel like that level will get hit. I do think that 96 will get hit. And the reason for that is looking at the chart here, we move up, break above the 200-day moving average, pull back, break below it. Now we've broken back above it, but I think we need to test it again. And so testing it again at 95 cents would be, getting a fill at 96 cents. So I do think that's a good level. And we can see looking at this retracement still corresponding with the high up there. And so this, I think that's solid, 96 cent dip buy. But then let's consider, where might I trim at? 138, that's pretty high from where we're currently at. And that's probably just because, I have it set a little bit higher because I was, having to trim on Coinbase, which, I'd want to do in $100 increments rather than $7 increments. But 138, what's that correspond with? We can see the extension over here. That is, from the low of June 22nd up to the high over here. July 22nd, and then pulling back to this 618, which I don't think is going to happen. So I might actually bump that up to be, corresponding with the low here from July. Oh, sorry, that was the low of, let's see, August 2nd. And we can see that trim level will still be around, 138. That's a 100% move. Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that. Even if it's just like a $7 trim, that's cool, because I think that Ondo has a lot of potential to be, getting back up to $2. And if my average is less than $1, that's more than a 2x. So, I want to hold on for that. And if we are getting into alt season, I think Ondo could be, putting in some new all-time highs, maybe getting up to $3, a three-bagger for me, so I'd like that. I'd like that a lot. So don't want to be trimming too aggressively. So I think 138 is fine to, be doing that. So yeah, I'll leave that alone. Easy peasy for Ondo. And now let's come back to the list here. And I'm just going to have another sip of coffee. I got into this little predicament with these videos is, I was working late last night, so I came home, ate a little bit, not too hungry when I wake up. And then, I start making these videos. I'm talking so much. Hey, man, I need some food. Yeah, it's kind of a little bit of a predicament after doing this for about 50 minutes. Is that just might mean I need to talk a little bit faster, or maybe I need to take a little food break in a minute. Probably not. I think I'll be okay. But yeah, Loopring here is the next one on the list, ticker symbol LRC. This is one that, has been at the bottom of the list for quite some time. My average was 19 cents, managed to basically chop that in half. Did do a $100 dip buy as it did cross below 8.9 cents. I think it actually got pretty close to 8 cents. So we'll have to look at that and see what the new dip buy level is. But let's first take a look over at the market cap on CoinMarketCap. And this is LRC, the second to last on my list, which is ranked 311, $135 million market cap. So, still pretty small there, but, notably about twice the size of RLC's market cap. And that actually did go up over the past week. Last week it was at 123. Now it's at 136. So kind of crazy to see that. But let's, check out the chart here for LRC, and just scrolling down here. US dollar on Coinbase. All right. So, whoa. Oh my gosh. What just happened here? That's pretty crazy. We're up 16.5%. Are we? No, Bitcoin's flat. What's going on with LRC? I have no idea, but it is testing the 200-day moving average currently, so that could be, getting into some resistance there. But look at that volume there. Pretty crazy. I think that it's probably going to get rejected from the 200-day, but wow. I didn't expect that at all. But we want to look at the close from yesterday, so not the current price, the close from yesterday. And that is going to be at 8.46 cents. 8.46 cents. 846 cents. And so that did go down. I'm down 15%. But if I put in, the current price, which is 979, if I just put in that, I'm only down 2%. But I am going to do the closing price from Friday, keeping these videos consistent. And, because my average is like 10 cents. So pretty cool, but I need to, now evaluate where that $100 dip buy should be for LRC. And so looking over here, I had that at 8.9 cents. The low for last week was actually hit yesterday, I believe. Yep, hit yesterday. The low was 8.15 cents. So I could have gotten a much better discount. Did pierce that 618 there. And that is corresponding with the top over here for that retracement. And I do think that we're going to get rejected, in all honesty, from that 200-day moving average and maybe pull back too. You know, the 50%, man, unfortunately, it looks like I missed the bottom. But, you know, that would be corresponding with this uptrend that I have drawn here. Excuse me. And maybe I actually want to adjust that a little bit. So, you know, we don't have, you know, any pierces of it over here, but we did kind of fake out break here. That could be suggesting that we do pierce again 8.9 cents. So what was my dip by level? 8.9 cents. Yeah, I'm kind of bummed about that. But maybe what we can do, if we are getting rejected here, maybe I want to do another little retracement to get an idea of where this could be coming back to. And let's see, 50% is around 8.9, man. So yeah, I think like 8.9 again is going to be, you know, the dip by level. But maybe that could be coming down over here to this trend line that I did adjust. Yeah, pierces 8.9, like it pierced the 618. So it pierces that. Let's see, that 618 was 8.35, but we pierced it by 0.2 cents. So maybe we pierced this 50% by 0.2 cents. That's 0.89 or 8.9. So maybe 8.7. I think that's, you know, the level that I might want to consider. You know, I see the alert, but then with the spread, I wouldn't get a fill there, but the alert would go off. And so I think that is, you know, what's important there. So I need to adjust that alert, and I will need to, you know, put an order in there if that alert does go off. So I feel like that's good for the dip buy for LRC. Is the trim still 12 cents? Yeah, I mean, that would be up here. And that would be like $100 trim. And 12, that's making like 20% if my average is 10 cents. So, you know, I think that's good. Although, you know, I think I could hold out for 30 cents. That's 3x, maybe 50 cents, 250. You know, I think I could make a lot of money with this, but I do need to be managing risk. And so, yeah, let's see, you know, yeah, I mean, let's see. I mean, because this came down 0.2 cents below that level. These are approximate levels. Maybe it doesn't come down 0.2 cents again. I do think that this is going to get rejected. Maybe I want to make it 88. I think I just want to make it 88. Give myself a little bit of exposure. Although if I do buy LRC, it will then flip Ondo. So yeah, I'm just gonna leave it. You know, don't get too excited, buddy. But yeah, trim level still at 12 cents. I think that is fine. Yeah, so we'll see if that happens. Down 15% right now, so we'll have to wait and see. But then the next one on the list is going to be Solana, ticker symbol SOL. Did not get a dip buy for that or anything, and I don't expect to. You know, so I'll just be chilling with this one. But yeah, let's check out the market cap for Solana. It's going to be ranked number 6, I believe. Yep, over here. And we can see that the market cap is 102 billion, something like that. And so let's paste that number over here. Did go up over the past week. It was 97 billion. Now it's at 102 billion. And so let's check out the price from last night. I should clarify in case things are pumping right now. And so Solana USD on Coinbase. We can see that it is currently retesting that green uptrend. I'll go over that in a minute. But the closing price was, you know, at that uptrend. And for the closing price on Friday, August 15th, Solana closed at 185.86, 185.86. And that did go up over the past week. My ad level for Solana at 169. Do I think that's going to get tested again? I don't know. I mean, we did put in a higher high here. And with that higher high, we do see a lower high in the RSI. So Maybe that's some bearish divergence that we're going to be pulling back, recharging before breaking out. But we do see that it's pulling back to that green uptrend. Maybe that's a little bit wonky of a level, but the highs over here, the highs over here, that being some resistance, now pulling back to it as support. We had pulled back to that 200-day moving average, bounced from there, found that as support, but we did break below it a little bit. Maybe we get close to it, but not all the way. And so, yeah, we do have this retracement here, which is from the tops here. We did go to a higher high, so I'm just going to extend that forward a little bit, intersect with the high from Thursday, August 14th, which was at, let's see, $210 exactly. And, so pulling back from there, that would put the 382 at, 166.18 approximate. And so 169, I think that's a fine dip by level. I could see that happening with getting close to the 200-day moving average, but not quite. And then it starts to go higher. But I could also see it finding support where it's at now, and that's fine too. I would not be worried about that. So I'm just going to leave that dip by or add level 169, leave that alone. But then the trim level, let's check that out. 217. What was the high that we saw on the 14th? That was 210, as I had just said. Almost getting up to 217 right up here, that 100% Fibonacci extension, going from the low of April 7th up to the high over here, May 23rd, and then down to, it looks like the low of June 22nd. So let's see, I'm just going to extend that forward to the future, line that up with that prior low, and that's, around 217. I could see that happening, so I'm fine to leave that as the trim level, not the sell level, the trim level. So I think that is fine for Solana. Don't need to do any adjustments there. Can just, leave that alone. And it looks like I am. I didn't mention it. I'm up 24% on my position. So feeling good about that, happy about my Solana. But yeah, I got that. I don't need to make any adjustments there. And so now let's check out the next one, which is going to be Litecoin, ticker symbol LTC. Let's check out the market cap for Litecoin. This is going to be ranked number 19. 10 is Cardano. Litecoin is 19. Okay, and that's about $9 billion currently. And let's see if that did go up from last week or if it went down. $9 billion. So the market cap last week was $9.3 billion. So down just a little bit. But let's check out that price, that closing price from Friday. And then USD on Coinbase. And so the closing price, it looks like this is getting a little bit rejected there from 133, 132 there. The closing price from the 15th was 119.21. So 119.21. Looks like I'm up about 20% in my position, so happy about that. My average is 98.94. And let's see, what was the... Let's see, where am I at? 114 is the add level, so getting close. And let's see, what is that based on? I am going to have to adjust that a little bit higher. It is the 236 here from that fib retracement. But because we did pierce a little bit higher, on the 13th, the high was 134.14, and that was the high. So let's just adjust this up a little bit. And, we can see 114, I don't know that we're going to get there. 117 seems like it is the, the dip level, which was pierced on August 15th. And that was at, let's see, 116.58. And that's, right there. So, what do I want to do? Do I want to leave it? I didn't get a trim. 133 was my trim. This is actually a pretty frustrating one. 133 was my trim level. We actually went a whole dollar above that to 134.14, according to Coinbase. My limit order did not get filled. And that's why, when you want to round down with these, round down for trim levels, round up for add levels, because of the spreads. Unfortunately, the order wasn't filled. So that kind of sucks. So with that being said, maybe I don't want to. I was thinking maybe I want to bump up, to 117 or 116. You know, what am I thinking? I don't know, putting in higher highs, higher lows. 117. Maybe I do, but maybe like 114 is fine. I'm not sure. Let's see. We got the 200-day moving average at around 98. I don't know. Do I think that we're going to get a flush out? I think that we could. Oops, sorry about that bump. But Litecoin, I don't know. I think, you know, do I want to bump it up? Because it's around 118.56. I don't know. 114. What's my average? My average is 98.94. Yeah, so I mean, I'm cool to chill with that. And I didn't get the trim, so I don't have to be aggressive because, you know, but I think that that will get filled, you know, goes back up. Maybe we get a flush down to retest the highs over here at like 107. Yeah, because, you know, we moved up, we've retested the 236. So maybe we go up, but then retest, you know, the 382, and then I'd get a fill at 114. So I think I'd be fine to leave that. But yeah, I mean, this should be based on technicals. It should not just be based on laziness of me not wanting to adjust. But I mean, that is kind of like a split the difference. 117 and 107 split the difference there. Let's see, adding 5 to 107, that would be like 112. So, yeah, I mean, I'm just going to leave it. I'm just going to leave it. Don't need to put any extra thought into it. So, yeah, 114. I think that's fine. If it gets filled, great. Maintaining higher lows. I wasn't able to trim here, so I don't want to be getting too crazy. Also, excuse me. Also, looking at the list here, Litecoin is pretty high up here for my alts. So, you know, that's fine. I don't need to be super aggressive with it. I don't need to be, yeah, maybe next week, you know, then maybe I'd want to reconsider being more aggressive. But yeah, I'm just, but then at the same time, do I think it's going to come down? The 200-day moving average is below my average, 98.94. So yeah, I mean, I don't need to be super aggressive with it. I can just, you know, leave this alone. And I do want to leave that trim there at 133 that wasn't filled. So I'll leave Litecoin alone. 114 though, I think we could be testing that. So yeah, I'll leave it be. And yeah, I'm just gonna have another sip of some coffee. And moving on to the next one is going to be the official Trump coin, ticker symbol TRUMP. And I did get a dip buy, did get an ad order filled with the low, or my order being filled at $9.10. I know it did dip below $9, so we'll have to take a look over at the chart in a second. But let's first take a look at the market cap for Trump. It's going to be ranked number 54 here on the list. And that, let's see, this is volume. I need to copy the number over here, $1.8 billion. And that did go up 9. That's the wrong number. So I didn't copy it, I guess. So right here, copy that. And let's see. Went down. That's kind of what I was expecting. So Trump was at 1.9 billion last week. Now it's at 1.8. What is the price from yesterday? So let's look at Trump coin on Coinbase. And we could see the closing price from Friday, August 15th, was at $9.26, 9.26. So I am down. It did dip below, though. It did dip below $9.10. So the low over the past week looks like it would have been on Monday. Is that right? 870. Nope, it would have been on Tuesday, the 12th. The low is 871. Do I think this could be going lower? Yeah. Why? Because we got this trend line here that I've drawn. It'll be in just kind of casual. Yeah, I mean, and we have broken below the 786 there for that retracement. So actually, I'm probably just going to move this. Where do we break below that? And so kind of not stop being useful after that, And yeah, but I think it could be coming back down to here. And so that would be like 8.8. What was the low from yesterday? The low is 8.85. And really, I could just see it, being $9. Or, because gotta think about the spreads, maybe I want to do 8.99 because this is approximate and I want to get, below $9. I want to get it at a discount. Want to sell it, sell it at $8.99. Nobody wants to buy it at $9, but they want to get the discount price at a discount of $8.99. So I will put that there, adjust the alert and the order there, but then consider that trim level. What is the trim level for Trump coin? 17 cents corresponding with the fib retracement here. And yeah, so I think $17, that's fine. I do think that Trump will be putting in all-time highs. I do think that it will be going back up to around 44, but just to be managing that risk, not taking a huge trim. It'd be a $7 trim or $10 trim, something like. No, actually, I think, thinking about it, I just do one Trump coin. It's $17. But still, I got more to spare. Trim at higher levels, so I'll leave that one alone. And so I think that is fine. And so I need to replace that order, $7. So I'll make that yellow. And then the next one on the list is another fun meme coin, and that is Pepe, ticker symbol PEPE. And did get a dip buy, it looks like, at 4 zeros and 11 cents. It might have dipped below 4 zeros and 10 cents, but we'll have to look at that in just a second. The price action, but first let's take a look at the market cap. So Pepe is ranked 29. Pretty crazy that Ethereum Classic is lower than it. Same with Aave, lower than Pepe. But whatever. Pepe is ranked 29. The market cap, $4.6 billion. So let's put that over here. And that did go down last week. Last Saturday, it looks like it was around 5.166 billion, now at 4.631 billion. And the price from yesterday, if we look at Pepe on Coinbase, we can see that the closing price from Friday, August 15th, was 4 zeros, 1083. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1083. And that did go down 11 cents, or 4 zeros and 11 cents. And that's right here. Looks like I'm down 27% on my position. I am going to have to place a buy order, replace that $7 buy order. And so let's do that over here. Let's see, what was the low for last week? It looks like it was hit yesterday on the 15th with that low of 4 zeros, 1053. Could it be going a little bit lower? Yeah, I mean, I see that 200-day moving average was broken through a little bit here. Could be getting close to retesting it, so I could actually see a dip down to, but maybe not getting the spread, but that being like 10.5. So I'm going to say this should be, 10.5, or maybe I'll do 10 point, oops, I don't need to do the 0.69 in case that 10.5 is not filled, and then I need to, bring that out a little bit. And so that's the order that I'm considering there. Need to put an alert, an adjustment, and place that order. Need to place the order here for Trump as well. But then the trim is 4 zeros and a 19. Let's see, is that still the same? I imagine so. That is based on the extension here from the low of March 11th up to the high of May 23rd. And then it looks like down to the low of June 22nd. Over here, that's around 19. 4 zeros and 19, so I'm going to leave that one alone for Pepe. And yeah, so feeling fine about that. The next one on the list is going to be Cardano. It looks like I do believe I trimmed this. Yeah, at $1, it did pierce $1, so excited about that. Did trim it. But with that, and also with these moving up in the rankings, Cardano moved down in the rankings from 10 to now 12 below Pepe. But yeah, let's check out the market cap for Cardano. And this one, I might more aggressively want to dip buy on it. Cardano ranked to number 10 here, as I'd mentioned before, market cap of around $32 billion. And so I imagine that went up over the past week. It did. Let's see, it was Cardano, $28.6 billion, now at $32.4 billion. And so let's check out the price of Cardano. Coinbase futures, I want the Coinbase US dollar. And so the closing price from yesterday, so from Friday, was, 94.6 cents. So got that right in there. Did go up over the course of the past week. I am up about 37% on my position. And, what's my dip buy level? My dip buy level was 73 cents, but since I did trim at $1, I can add a little bit. I can bump that trim level up, because I want to be trim up, add back, and just kind of repeat that, as it does go higher. And so I'm going to probably want to adjust that, as I did trim out at $1. I'm going to need to actually, have a new trim level in there. But let's first talk about the adjusted add level. Where could I see this pulling back to? I'd say, before over here, it was at 77 or 72, corresponding with that 200-day moving average, as well as the 50% retracement. But since we did put in a higher high, also lower high in RSI, that's bearish divergence. So I would not be surprised if we did pull back some. So I'm just going to move this up and over, so we get that, top over there. And that, let's see, 382 would correspond with about 83 cents. Well, let's also see, though, I'm just going to do a little temporary Fibonacci retracement from the low here to the high. And that 50% would actually suggest about 85 cents. But with rounding and spreads, whatnot, maybe that doesn't get filled. We do have 86 cents right here. So maybe this pulls back to 80 cents. That's being a little bit more aggressive. If it does pull back down to 85, 81, 80, that would be fine. Increasing my average, but, I did take some profits. I trim out at $1, buy back around 90 cents. I'm going to make it 86 cents. I think that seems totally fine. So I'm going to make that yellow. And with that being said, I need to adjust this over here. That needs some attention. So just so I note that I need to adjust that dip by level. But now, what's the trim level? What is the trim level that I need to consider here? Since I did get out trim at $1, what's the next level up? It looks like it's around 107 here, and that's based on the low from April 7th up to the high from May 12th, and then pulling back to that low from June 22nd, just extending that over to here. And so that 1618 extension is around 107, but then we have this 100% extension corresponding with, that would be, suggesting a pullback lower to than when we came. So, that's based on the low from June 22nd up to the high of June 21st, and then pulling back a little bit lower. And so I could actually move that up some to correspond with the low here. And that would be suggesting about 110 or a 111. So really like between 107 and 110, 111, I'd say I could just round this up from 107 to 108. I think that is reasonable for a trim level. So I will do 108. And, so I think that is a good level to, trim on the way up and then pull back more aggressively, add back in. So I think it's good, just swinging Cardano around having some fun with it. While I'm up 37% with my average at 69 cents, although I don't want to adjust that. I like that number. It's fun. But, I want to be maintaining a position in it as it does go higher while also de-risking and whatnot. With that whatnot being said, let's continue on to the next one, which is going to be Aave, ticker symbol AAVE. And, did not get a trim or anything with it, but it did break above 300, I believe. But let's first, before we get into the price, let's look over at the market cap. So Aave ranked below Pepe by 2, ranked number 31 here in CoinMarketCap. And the market cap is about $4.47 billion, just shy of 4.5. And it looks like that did come down over the past week. Aave was at 4.6. Now it's at almost $5 billion market cap. And so looking at the price, AAVE, the price over here, US dollar on Coinbase, we can see that the closing price from August 15th was $300.24. Currently now, I guess, below $300. But yeah, 324. So type that in here. Still up, 11% on my position. But yeah, I mean, what's a, ad level? My average, 271 about. Do I think it's going to come down to 271? It could. Got that 382 right there. But we did put in a higher high just by a little bit. So I'm going to have to adjust that retracement, moving up and over. And we can see that, let's consider this. We do have a little bit of a progression here that I think is kind of interesting to look at. We're down here below that 200-day moving average. Then we break above it. Then we break below it. Then we move higher, higher low. Then we pull back, but don't quite get to that 200-day moving average. But we did pull back over to here. So maybe we do maintain higher lows, but maybe pulling back down to that 382. That'd be around 254. That's lower than my average, but maybe we don't quite get there. Maybe we find some support around the 236. That's around 287. Purple line there, probably hard to see because it's kind of dark. But let's see. Maybe I want to do another fib retracement from the low here to the high. Let's check out what that 50% level is. Yeah, that's around where we're at. 281. Hey, right around there. Yeah, so, I mean, my average, the 786 here is 265. That's lower than my average, 265.85. But if my average is 271, do I want to be getting that down? I want to get more of an Aave position. I do feel confident in it. And so where would I see this coming back down to? I say like that 618, 282. That could be a nice little dip buy level. I don't think that, hey, man, 282. Crazy. Maybe I just want to leave that. I think that it could pull back. Yeah, because, I mean, let's see. I'll delete this, but let's see. Up to here, we came back. We pierced that 618, but didn't get to the 786. So maybe what we do here is, again, pierce that 618, but don't get to the 786. And so maybe 280 would be filled, but maybe not. Maybe we just barely get to that. So I think what I want to do is, yeah, because I think that what happens with this charts or motions is we see, hey, it pierced the 618 here before getting to the 786 and bounced. Maybe it's going to do that again. So if it pierces the 618, get a fill at 282, and then it bounces. So if it pierces, yeah, 280 would get filled, but maybe it doesn't. So maybe I do want to up that to 282. Yeah, so I think that's what I'll do. 282. Or maybe do I want to do 283? because maybe it gets down to that. Maybe it doesn't pierce it though. And if it doesn't pierce 281.90, I don't think I get a fill at 282. And we do have the, the 236 here at 287. I think that could be getting pierced. I think I want to up this to 283. Want to be a little bit more aggressive. Actually, well, before that, what was the high? The high was hit on Thursday the 14th at a price of 340. I didn't get my hit of 380 up here. I think that could be coming soon though. And if that's going to be coming soon, maybe I want to add a little bit before it takes off. So yeah, I think 283, that's a reasonable compromise between the 287 here and 282, but upping the 280 because I think that's a little greedy. So 283. I think that's reasonable. And yeah, just looking at the chart here, I just took that step back. 380. I think that's fine for me to leave that there. So I will leave that alone here. But like the others, I'm going to adjust that dip by level. Up it a little bit. And we'll see if it gets filled. I'll probably get a lot of these getting filled for next Saturday. But, that's fine. I want to be building up these positions as we're getting into alt season, taking advantage of the dips. Yeah, and so I'm just going to have a little bit more coffee. An hour and 26 minutes. I talk too much. But hopefully my thought process is helpful for you guys. It's definitely helpful for me. And, I just do this like once a week. I don't really think about it too much. So it's pretty nice. But yeah, let's check out the next one on the list. Chainlink, ticker symbol LINK. I did trim this last week. As we can see, we rocketed up to $23, got pretty close, I think, to 24 or beyond. But we'll take a look at the price in a second. First, we are going to populate the market cap data for Chainlink, which is number 12 here, ranked by CoinMarketCap, just shy of 15 billion. I imagine this went up from last week. Since we did get the news of the Chainlink reserve, and also there's just so much utility for bridging between USDT, USDC transactions and stable coins. So I think that Chainlink does have a lot of utility as far as the financial sector, business, whatnot goes. And let's see, the market cap from last week was 14.4 billion. So only went up by about 500 million. And let's check out what the price is now. So Link from Coinbase US dollar did go up, did get rejected from 24.47, hit a high on the 13th of 24.73. So I got that nice little fill at 23. So happy about that. And that was probably corresponding with this, just rounding that down a little bit. But anyways, the closing price from yesterday, the 15th, was 21,767. So 21,767. So it did go up. Last week, it looks like I'm up about 18% in my position. And since I did trim, I probably want to add back a little bit more aggressively. My trim or my add back level is 1769. But maybe I want to adjust that to be a little bit, higher. And so I could see that being, the trim level corresponding with this yellow line here around 20, corresponding with the top here, that, prior resistance, then acting as support. And this, prior consolidation lows, that support then got flipped to resistance. Maybe it's flipped to support again. And, but with that being said, since we did get to a new high here, I'm going to need to adjust this retracement to be up to that new high. And so let's see. Yeah, Yeah, the 236 would suggest a pullback to around 21.34. We're currently around 22, so that's not really much lower. So yeah, I mean, I could see a pullback down to around 20, find that as support, and do something a little bit, like this. And yeah, then what would be the next trim level, though? I need to think about that. If I did trim out at 23. And let's just think, I did, adjust the trim for Cardano. Yeah, so I need to do that now for Link. But first, yeah, 1769 ad level. I think I need to bump that up to 20. I think that's, a fine level, technical level, makes sense. Also psychological level. And so I'm going to, bump this up to 20, increasing my average, but it's only $7, so it's not a big deal. Trim it on the way up, adding on the way down, bouncing up and down, swinging it. And yeah, so feel fine about that. But then the next trim level, not 23. I don't even want it to be 24 or 25. Let's see, where we can look at that. And so I think I'm going to have to adjust the axis here to get that next level. Here it's saying like 30. I don't know about that. That's pretty high. Yeah, 30.29. Tops over here. Let's see the tops over here. 26, 27. This is Chainlink. 30. Let's look at this in the past. Where has this been in the past? Whoa. It's been way higher than 30. It's been up to 50. That's, I guess, the all-time high. I guess 50. So, yeah, I mean, I could be trimming this at 30. But maybe I want to round that down. This is 29. Round that down to 29. Or, kind of split the difference. Let's see. And maybe I want to do another fib extension. I mean, I did this from the low to the here to the high to the low. So 100%. So 1618 is like 30. 29. I'm thinking, maybe I want to do like 28. Kind of split the difference between 27 here, 29 here, 28. But I think I could, do that at 29. Nope, 28. Round that down because this is like 29, 28, 80, $29.29. So round that down to 29. Giving it a spread of like to 28. I think 28 is a good level there. 27, I think it'd be selling it short because like the high over here is 27. I think it'd be selling it short. Split the difference, 28. Feel good about that one. And I'm going to need to, do that there. So Link, feeling good about that. And then now coming back over here, the next one on the list is going to be Uniswap, ticker symbol UNI. And did not trim, did not dip by this level. And so let's actually, take a look at the market cap before we get into the levels. Uniswap ranked number 23 at a market cap of around $6.9 billion. Let's see what that ends up looking like over here. Rounds, not rounding up to 6.9, but 6.879 billion versus last week's, which was 6.847. So it's kind of been flat as far as the market cap goes. 6.8, 6.8. Yeah, so nothing too crazy there. But let's check out the price for Uniswap. And that is going to be Coinbase US dollar. And we can see that the closing price from yesterday, August 15th, was 1073. So 1073. 1073. So got that there. And that actually has come down because it's the closing price from yesterday whereas it's bounced a little bit. It's gone up just a little bit so far today on Saturday, August 16th. And yeah, 1073. What was my trim level for Uniswap? 1250. Where do we get to? Got to a high of 1228.5 on Wednesday, the 13th. Almost got to 1250, but not quite. So I probably want to leave that as the trim level. But what's the dip buy level now? We did go to a higher high, and with that higher high, we do have a lower high in the RSI that's bearish divergence, so I'm not surprised to see that we're getting a pullback. But I am going to want to adjust this to be a little bit higher. And so that, 236, which we've effectively tested yesterday with the low of 1043, that 236 is around 1045. So yeah, I mean, what do I have as the ad level for Uniswap? $10. Do I want to bump that up? $10. I mean, I could see that happening, but let's do a little fib retracement here from the lows here to those highs. 50% is around 1045. But then 618 is around 1004. What's my average? 1014. So Uniswap, I think I could probably just leave that at 10 because we do have, yeah, I think leaving it at 10 is fine. I don't need to be super aggressive with all of these. I don't need to be bumping them all up. So I'll probably just leave that. My average or my percent is I'm up only 6%. Based on my average. So, I'll wait for that to pull back some. And I think leaving the trim level at 1250 is fine. So I'm not going to adjust that one at all. And so now we can move on to the next one on the list, which is going to be Avalanche, ticker symbol AVAX. And let's check out the market cap for Avalanche. Oops, sorry, wrong one. Avalanche ranked number 18. And that is a market cap of about $10.2 billion. Let's check this out over here. And that did come down from last week. Avalanche was around 10.23 billion. Now it's around just shy, so it's kind of been flat. And let's check out the price action. Avalanche, US dollars on Coinbase. And so the closing price from yesterday, a little bit of a pullback. That's, let's see, 23.78. So 23.78. Red there. Also, just like a Uniswap, down up about 6% in my position. My average is 22.35, getting pretty close to that. What's my dip buy level? About 22. So do I think this could be pulling back to 22? Here we are putting in lower highs with lower highs in the RSI. So no bearish divergence there, so looking good. You can see with that 200-day moving average, this did break above that, bounced, retest, moved higher, but with that moving higher, put in a higher high, lower high in RSI, bearish divergence, then pulled back to break below that 200-day moving average, going back up, and so now I could see it pulling back to retest that moving average. And so I think a Pierce of 22 could get filled, and so that would be, increasing my position while also getting my average down. So I think over here, these levels, or that ad level 22, I think that's fine. But what about the trim level 31? Do I want to adjust that? Let's see, because I guess I already got the trim at 27 because I rounded that down, I think, to 27. We had the let's see, the July 28th high was 27.39, the spread. Fortunately, I was able to get a fill. And so we do have from that the low, June 22nd up to the high of July 28th, pulling back to the 618, which I don't think is going to happen. That would be around 31. Maybe I want to move that up, though, to correspond with that actual low. That's going to be around 32. So, maybe I could adjust my trim to 32, but at the same time, I wasn't greedy over here, and I think that's a good lesson. I should probably just leave it at 31. And so I could see this, let's see, pulling back to around here before taking off and going up and getting up to around 31, 32, somewhere around there. So I am not going to adjust my levels for Avalanche, which, Ed is blocking over here. So I'll just move those up so you can see them. And then now the next one on the list is going to be XRP, ticker symbol XRP. This is getting into the territory of my smaller positions because I've either trimmed them more aggressively or because they're just smaller, newer, or non-existent. And so XRP, let's check out the market cap. It's going to be ranked number 3, I believe, because this is not including USDT, but XRP, about $184 billion market cap. Paste that over here. We can see that that did come down over the past week. It was at around 195 billion, now at 184 billion. And so yeah, let's check out the current price XRP on Coinbase US dollar. The price from yesterday, the close on the 15th, was 308. So easy to type that in here. And it looks like I'm up about 32% on my position. Maybe this one, I do want to adjust my dip by $3. Actually, 308. Maybe not. I don't know. We do see higher, lower lows here, lower lows in the RSI. So there's no bearish divergence. What are some levels that this could be pulling back to? I don't think I have to adjust the retracement because it does correspond with the tops over here. This did pierce the 382. And, maybe it could be getting back to that. So, yeah, I do think that $3. What was the low? Actually, on the 14th, the low was exactly $3. I think that this could be coming a little bit lower, so maybe I do get that fill. So I actually think I'm fine to leave it at $3. And that is, increasing my average from 234. So, yeah, but let's see the lows here. $3. Let's just see. Maybe I do a little micro retracement here. Just extend this just so it's not so much clutter there. 618. That's 297.7. $3. Yeah, I think I could be getting a fill there. So maybe not. Doesn't really matter. Or do I want to do that at 301? No, I think that it could be going a little bit lower. And yeah, because like the lows over here from the 3rd, 295 basically. We want to be maintaining higher lows, not sweeping them. So I think $3 is cool. 369, I got pretty close to getting a fill over here. As a good example of not being greedy. But also I didn't want to be too aggressive with that trim. And that is also, all-time high for XRP. So yeah, I think it's fine to leave that. I'm just going to leave it alone, not too exciting for the ones down here. But yeah, let's check out the next one on the list, which is going to be Stellar Lumens, ticker symbol XLM. Did not get a dip buy at 40 cents, did not get a trim at 56 cents. But before we get into the price action, let's look over at the market cap. Stellar is looking like it's ranked number 13 at around $13.3 billion market cap. And let's see, did come down over the past week. Now at 3.3 billion, was at, $14.1 billion. So did come down a little bit, about, $800 million. But let's check out the price over here. So XLM, Stellar Lumens, US dollar on Coinbase, putting in lower highs in the RSI. So that is no bearish divergence. Let's see. The closing price from yesterday, the 15th, was 43.0588. So 43.0588. And that does put me at up by 19%. Let's just making sure. 43.0588, 43.0588. So that looks right. And my dip buy level is 40 cents. Oops, sorry. I want to get to over here. 40 cents. maybe I want to adjust that. We did have this from the retracement. Don't need to adjust it because we didn't put in higher highs, but we did pull back to the 50%, going up. Now maybe pulling back to that 382. And we did pierce the 50% here, so maybe we pierce the 382, and that's around 404. So 40.4, so maybe that 40 cents does get a fill. So I'm going to leave that alone, not getting more aggressive, not being too crazy, nothing like that. And then let's consider the trim level, 56 cents. What was the highs over here? The highs over here, 52 cents on both of these days, 52.0657. So let's see if I take a step back, still got that level at 56 cents. So yeah, I'll leave that, not adjusting that at all. So no big deal. And yeah, now we're going to come back, look over to getting into some fun ones, some of the memes over here as I sit up in my chair for the last two. Pudgy Penguins. I'm excited about this one. I have been doing dollar daily DCAs. Not really too exciting, but just building a small position, not getting too emotional about it. But I am negative, as I'm sure we will find out in just a second, with my average at 3.8 cents. But that's what, maybe I want to more aggressively add over the next week with it being so low. Maybe I want to do a $2 daily DCA. We'll think about it. But let's first check out the market cap for PENGU. Over here ranked at number 49, about $2 billion market cap, higher than Trump coin. Kind of funny. But I think that Pudgy Penguins is just like great marketing. Really like him a lot. 2-something billion. I spat on the mic. Oops. Hopefully you didn't hear that. But 2 billion, what was it last week? PENGU was almost 4 billion, so it did come down a little bit. And let's check out the price of PENGU, Coinbase US dollars, unless, yeah, this is recently launched, so I don't need to look at this on Kraken. I think that's for Fartcoin. But yeah, so for PENGU, the close from yesterday, the 15th, was 3.243 cents, 3243. So 3243, and I'm down 15%. And so because of that, since I'm getting down lower, maybe what I want to do, since this is the smallest position here, and it's going to take a little while for me to overthrow XLM, I might want to adjust my daily dip buys to $2, just to, be a little bit more aggressive. It is down. I am down only 15%, but it's down more than 10%. So I think I can step that up a little bit and see about that dip buy that I have. Just $7. That's at 3 cents. And yeah, it's currently trading around 3.3 cents. Well, kind of crazy. This doodle here is kind of playing out as I had doodled. But maybe this does retest the 382 here, which is at 3.028 cents. And we do see the low from yesterday, August 15th, was 3.083 cents. So very close to that fib level. Very interesting there. So yeah, I think that I like the increasing the daily dollar cost averaging by $2 a day. Still not a lot of money, still not a lot of risk. And still keeping that dip buy, if like a retest of the 382 here, since that does correspond with the tops over here. Just making sure that is lined up. Yep. And yeah, so what's the trim level for it, which I think would just be like a $1 trim for PENGU? That would be 5 cents. Pretty crazy. And we're gonna have to. I guess I don't have to adjust the y-axis. We can see it up here. I guess I will adjust the y-axis a little bit. We can see that level at like basically 52 cents. And that is the fib extension from the low here to the high. And then just like assuming it pulls back to the 786, which I don't think is going to happen, because if I do move this up higher, then, that's like a higher price target. So leaving it at 5 cents, I think that's reasonable. I think that's conservative. And yeah, and then that's just really like being prepared for the possibility of it come down that low. So yeah, I'm going to leave that alone, not touching the PENGU orders. And then so now the last one on the list, kind of the fun one that I unfortunately don't hold, but that is Fartcoin, ticker symbol Fartcoin. Yeah, I did have a post actually on X. I might have to pull that up in a second, asking people, let's just see. Maybe I got a notification here for my poll. Oh, looks like it split only 3 votes. And so I asked, will Fartcoin hit 80 cents or $4.20 first? And, I said 80 cents, 420, or neither USD Fart, being that it's right around $1. And it looks like that was kind of split. And so I'm just going to say, ha, 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 awesome. Love it. And, I'll do a little... there we go. And so, yeah, I guess I'm not going to like that, but yeah. So we'll see. Let's check out some of the data over here. And I also do have like a thesis on Fartcoin. I'll kind of explain that too. But yeah, this is ranked number 82 based on CoinMarketCap, $941 billion, $1 million, I should say. And yeah, so it's bigger than RLC or LRC. And this did come down from last week. Last week it was over $1 billion. Now it's below. Let's check out the price of Fartcoin. And I'm going to have to look at this on Kraken, US dollar. And so the closing price from yesterday, August 14th, was 98.16. So, or yeah, 0.9816. That did come down over the past week. I would like to buy $100 worth, but I want to wait for 80 cents to then sell at $4.20 just because I think that's funny. And yeah, so I'm going to leave that alone. I'm not going to adjust that. And my thesis on that is really just kind of based on, I guess, this fib retracement that I have here, which I have adjusted to the high here, and the 618, which has not been penetrated yet. It has not been pierced. That's around 77 cents. I could see it going down to that level, 80 cents. Although we do have this trend line here, I think that kind of looks a little bit bearish. So, I mean, maybe this could be coming down to like 52 cents, but then maybe I'd add there. And then if it goes up to 420, that's, quite exciting there. But yeah, I mean, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to my profile and I'm going to search, Fartcoin. And we can see what I've posted about it, the latest, pump Fartcoin and prove them all wrong. That was referring to, Wolf of Wall Street saying Bitcoin maxis think I'm a shitcoiner, shitcoiners think I'm a Bitcoiner. And if you prove them all wrong, you could do that by, buying some Fartcoin. But yeah, this is, just kind of a breakdown of my thesis here. So, I am hoping that Bitcoin's CME gap at 117 is filled, which it has been filled, and opening up an opportunity to establish a Fartcoin position at 80 cents, which unfortunately has not been reached yet. As we can see over here, the low, which actually looks like it was testing the 200-day moving average, was hit on Tuesday, August 12th, the low of 83.10 cents. Dang it, so close. But I'm being disciplined. I'm waiting because Fartcoin's stupid. But actually, I think it's kind of intelligent. And that's really what I get into in my thesis over here. And so, my thesis, kind of based on what I was saying to Scott Melker, the Wolf of Wall Streets, is, by name/definition, it is not a shitcoin. It's a Fartcoin. And so once it bong rips to $4.20, it'll become a shart coin because it's squeezing too hard. When you squeeze too hard on a fart, it can lead to a shart. And so a shart coin would then be a shit coin, and that would mean GTFO. And so we're not at the GTFO time, GTFO price. We are at the, squeeze or hold hold in the fart, wait for it to settle, and then, let it rip once it comes down to 80 cents. And so people talk about it because it seems so stupid, but actually I think it's kind of smart because it's not a shit coin. It's a fart coin. I think it's funny. And so that's my thesis with it. If we're not having fun with this stuff, we're doing it wrong. And so, I'm going to leave my dip buy level for Fartcoin at 80 cents. Maybe next week I do have an order filled by then, but we'll have to wait and see. Coming over at the weeklies, got that all populated, so I will be sharing this with you guys on the 23rd, next Saturday. And if we look at the P&L over here, I do have more that are a little bit negative. The ones that I do have, and I did change the color scheme of some of these just because I thought Pepe was a little too dark, and he's got some red lips. Also, sometimes he wears a MAGA hat, so made that red. Also made, I think, Ethereum Classic a little bit brighter, and adjusted the color on Solana, and made the Litecoin a plus sign rather than an X. But anyways, yeah, I've got the 4 down here that I'm pretty negative on. RLC, still basically adding to that, with that down 42%. And as I add to that, kind of forces me to add to my Dogecoin position. So that one's still positive, up 30%, but it has, it's not really getting too aggressive up like Ethereum is, although I'm adding very aggressively to that one. But yeah, we just see that going up higher. We do have 100% on the axis now, so that's pretty exciting. But then the other ones that are down here, Pepe, Trump Coin, and then LRC, those are all pretty negative. So LRC is, LRC, yeah, down only 15%. That's crazy. Trump Coin down 21%. Pepe down 27%. And so Ethereum Classic, that's down 3%. And so a lot of these are either positive or, Ethereum Classic, I need to adjust this, this midpoint. Let's adjust the axis here. And so I gotta do this. Let's see, adjust the axis. Let's see, axis value, horizontal axis cross is at 0. Why do I have that line there? Automatic. I guess automatic, if I do it at 0. Yeah, that's kind of weird. It should have been at 0. So yeah, it looks like the only ones that are negative are these 4. As you can see over here. Oh, and I actually need to get Ed out of the way so you can see the full list. But yeah, we just have the 4, that being Pepe, LRC, Trump, and RLC. Those are the only ones that are negative. Everything else is positive, or approximately positive, depending on how price has changed since yesterday's close. But yeah, feeling great about this. I'm really excited for my Ethereum position to be 100% up, just because, I get a little bit antsy, and, I kind of want to, trim, but I'm waiting for 6,000. I think it's going to happen. And yeah, let's just bring Ed back for the closing of this to just bring up the thesis over here. As always, those are just my thoughts. If you found them helpful, make sure you like the video, share your thoughts in the comments down below, and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more weekly Crypto Corner stat stackers every Saturday for the year of 2025, and then other videos on stocks, crypto, whatever. Hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.